This is the Lockpicker 1969, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to the next episode of Interview with the Lockpicker. Today's guest is Knox Locks. Say hi, Knox.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
So, how and when did you get into lockpicking?
I was actually at the beginning of the pandemic. I was watching TV, YouTube with my brother.
Like a lot of people,
And
yep.
he's a couple of years younger than me. I'm 44, so he's 41. And we were watching Demolition Ranch, and he was shooting in that episode a 50 caliber to see if it can penetrate padlock. And the guest he had on was no less than lockpicking lawyer. And
Okay.
sure enough, 50 caliber definitely can shoot through a padlock. Absolutely. Definitely proven.
Yep.
So from there, YouTube just kind of did the algorithm thing, and the next video was lockpicking lawyer. And with his charming voice, he really just had that kind of Bob Ross kind of appeal. You know what I mean? Kind of
yeah.
monotone, but at the same time draws you in. And it was very in short time. I wanted to try it myself, and again, the algorithm started to go into Bosnian Bill and started to bring me to Lock Noob. The more I watched about locks, the more it opened me up to other lock pickers. So that was a very good way that I wanted to get started, and that's when I finally decided to purchase my my first kit.
Okay. So, what did you purchase for your first kit?
It was actually a cheap Chinese kit off of eBay, a no name, and
Okay.
literally when the second I got it and I was able to pick the clear lock, and clear locks are easy in a matter of minutes, I knew I wanted in. I definitely wanted in. So after watching a couple of reviews, I decided the best thing to do was order a couple from the different companies. So like Sparrows, I
All
ordered
right.
a set of the hooker set from Peterson's. They have at the time they were cheaper. They were under $5. They were $4 at the time. They're nickel plated steel, and they have these little gray handles. But I mean, for getting your foot in the door, I was able to get a Peterson Gem Hook One and a Quad Peak, for all under $15. And so just to try different, I didn't want to go all in on a set.
Okay.
So trying different manufacturers and whatever else, that's where I first started.
That was probably a very smart approach, too. A lot of people don't go that route. They go all in and figure out later that they should have done something else. So,
yeah, and for me, that's my major thing is the handles. And
yep.
Again, I have big hands. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'2", and I got big hands too. So unfortunately, I've been in car accidents and stuff. So literally, if you watch my videos, my ring fingers and stuff are mangled off to the sides. So after about like 10 minutes of serious picking, I start to cramp up.
So well, I was going to ask you if you could go into a little more detail. So we talked a bit about your physical challenges and how that applies to lockpicking, because you and I have that in common. In that, we've had to overcome certain challenges, and the pick handles definitely come into play with all that. Can you give your perspective on that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm on disability. I can't work. Unfortunately, I was in a car accident, and that impaired my cognitive skills, my ability of hearing. So I have tinnitus, which is a loud ringing of the ears. So I just have a loud pitch, constant ring. And that makes it so I can't hear a lot of the clicks. You know what I mean? Like I'll put like my headphones on and really crank the volume up, and I'll say, "Oh, I did not hear that at all," when I was just hearing with my plain ears. So that's a major disadvantage when you're picking locks. Like when you're trying to hear, and you can't hear the clicks and the pops, and then you really need to feel them. So you're taking away half of my ability to overcome the lock.
Definitely.
So then when it comes handles, I need the best feedback as possible. So that's where I had to find a crossroads of best feedback and not getting cramped hands.
Gotcha.
And for me, that intersection is bare bones with the femur handles. Their femur handles for me, it's a almost like a large size pencil, like when you were in kindergarten or first grade, when you're first learning how to write or whatever, as opposed to a normal number 2 pencil. They had the fat pencils just so you got the basic hand feel for a pencil. At
Yep.
least, that's how my school system was. It's kind of like that, where, it makes it so you can still write, whereas opposed to otherwise having a cramped hand and having to put my pick down.
Yep.
So that's really just being able to stay in the game. That alone is, a game changer.
So, can you talk a little bit more about your experience working with bare bones? Because we talked about a bit about that in the pre-interview.
Yeah, no, I'm all for bare bones, and if anyone was to ask me a place to start, I don't know where to. I'd say bare bones. I mean, especially the only way that I'd really kind of lean towards Sparrows if you're already in North America and it's a shipping issue. You know what I mean? Because it is from Australia, bare bones. So
Yep.
other than the shipping thing, I bare bones is the best place to start. I mean, their kits, you get 15,000 and a 23,000 for the price of a normal Sparrows like Vorax or something like that. You have a complete dual size kit with top of keyway pry bars, bottom of keyway tensioner, a full nice kit. And then I mean, just Mark himself, he's been super cool with me personally. I just he was nice enough. I had an idea for and he's nice enough to call them coffin handles, as I suggested, because I trying to think of a way to improve on the femur because it just had a little bit of wiggle room on it,
Yeah.
and I noticed it pinches on the x-axis, and I was trying to figure out a way to sturdy it. And speaking to Mark, I was like, we drop a grub screw on the y-axis, that would really stabilize. Yeah, it would make a home run into a grand slam. And
Yep.
really, I mean, that's what he did, and it really is. Like it's to me, the femur has the best, handle capabilities if cramping is your issue. You know what I mean? If
Yep.
cramping where the handles are a problem, I mean, for textile feedback, I'd say, kind of like the multi-pick all metal is probably the best for screaming, the communication because I can't hear probably gives the best, but I can't pick for more than 5 minutes with it
Yeah,
because,
I have the
there's
same
a
problem.
small hit.
I get hand
So
fatigue after about 2 or 3 minutes of using the regular multi-pick G Elite Pro handles.
yeah, exactly. So, if I can't pick, I'm out of the game. So they may
Yeah.
have the best feedback, but if I can't pick at all, then I'm out. So for me, again, that's bare bones is the best. And just in collaboration with anything that I've had an idea, he's been awesome enough to hear and then, give me feedback or whatever. And to me, that's really cool for, a pick company to be involved with, its customers or, in our case, pickers.
Yeah, definitely. So, how did you train yourself in lockpicking?
Okay. For me, I ordered Sparrows, the progressive locks, and uh, I have a couple kicks with grub screws. So I would continually, start 2 pins, 3 pins, and then when I finally got the Sparrows progressive, I also got a couple months later the core replacements. So then I went from not just learning the sledge keyways, it's a sledge, Yale, um, Weiss, and Quickset. So it's the big four known for
Yeah, you.
America's.
So you got that expansion core set then, is what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. So
Yep.
just to have by itself, that's four major cores that you're working on
Yep.
that you can progressively pin. And so just that alone, and then if you throw in a revolver in there, like, I like to watch things on YouTube and pick while I'm picking. So I might watch Bosnian Bill's How to Overcome Spools while I'm working on a revolver or a training lock with spools,
Yep.
every other pin or something like that. So I try to imitate what I'm seeing on screen to try to, get my open or to further educate myself. So I mean,
Definitely.
it's basically been a matter of, trial and error while watching YouTube videos.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So I'm curious, what do you do for a living?
Like I said, right now I'm on disability,
Okay.
unfortunately, with the ringing in the ears and with my hands, I'm not able to do a lot of stuff. But I was before this. I was a pharmacy tech. I worked
Oh,
for
okay.
ExxonMobil for a few
Oh,
years.
wow. Okay. Okay.
Right, for hobbies and stuff, I like to play guitar. Yeah, basically that's about it. I mean, I do play video games. I'm not as much as I used to be. Before I found Locksport, I was really into video games. But I don't know. For some reason, it's kind of fell back and wanted to do something a little more analog. You know.
Okay, I would imagine that with playing the guitar and holding a pick and all that, that would be have some challenges you've had to overcome too. With
Oh, absolutely. I have to modify my chords. I have to, absolutely, for sure.
yeah,
Unfortunately, sometimes I have to, just use bar chords where normally I would have to, like if I wanted to do a full G chord where I have to put my ring finger over my pinky if I wanted to, get the top E string, it's like, nope, can't do it that way. So I have to just modify it with either three notes out of the four or bar chord it. You know what I
okay,
mean? So there are certain things that I have to, with that too,
yep.
make
Okay, so getting into lock picking, kind of, it's almost sort of like a rite of passage. You get involved with social media and like all the different areas that lockpicking seems to be involved in or covered in. So, what has your experience been with social media, and what platform do you prefer and why?
Okay. Um, for me, I got into social media initially when John Locke had his 300 giveaway. At that time, I'd only made, I believe, two videos, but I didn't have anything up on social media to interact or to even have like an email account besides one attached to my name, or I didn't have anything set up for a channel. So when I entered that, that's when I realized, okay, it's time for me to start making accounts at places. And then, so I have a Discord, which is, to answer your question, that is my favorite. I was on Reddit. I am still on Facebook and Instagram. However, I'm not on Reddit anymore. I mean, I might pop up from time to time if there's an announcement in Lockpickers United or something that pops up on my phone, but don't look for a response for me there. And really, the reason I say that is uh, just a couple bad run-ins with people that I don't even believe are part of the lock sport or the lock picking community. So they were
Oh,
just kind of trolls looking to start fights. And the way I type, and I am dyslexic, so the way I type, I sometimes overcapitalize my whatever. So there was someone asked a question in the thread about how to polish their picks, and at the time I had just made a video for the bare bones, exactly how to shine your picks, called Chrome Your Bones. So literally in my video, I show three different methods. One with a Dremel tool, one with a book, and then another way using the book and a different method with the pages. So I
okay,
thought that was all valid for this person. If they're asking a question, they might not have the Dremel tool. So, valid answer. And I got stepped on, man. I got downvoted a couple hundred. I understand only the first 20 or 30 count, but a couple hundred downvotes. People were talking all types of stuff about my video. Like, oh, you could see his feet through the table because I'm out in my backyard. I didn't realize that through my glass table. I'm concentrating on the locks. I mean, not that there's anything gross about my feet, just feet in general. Just people made this random off the wall comments.
people are just
And
trying to find things to pick on.
yeah, and then it got ugly for a minute. And actually, Picking in Paradise, he was nice enough to reach out to me, and I asked him if he wouldn't mind giving it a look, and he's like, dude, you no, like they're just trolling you. Do not respond. Do not, because I was feeding into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Obviously, the more I fed into it, the bigger it was going up. So he's
yep.
like, dude, just hold on, stay quiet. And then I know they started deleting their comments, and they started, and it was like, oh wow, like okay, it wasn't. So just for that, I've never had that problem with Discord. I've never had that problem on any other, social media platform where unknown random people that aren't even known by others in my community or known to the sport, known anywhere, just come trolling in and just like anything, like my spelling, my bare feet under the table, I turn my fingernails. I mean, literally just random things, but I couldn't figure out how I was getting hundreds of downvotes. You know what I mean? And there was just one guy above me telling everybody, "Hey, I don't like this guy. Downvote him." And they just okay and just bandwagon. So
Yeah.
it was really nice to me of Mr. Picker to reach out to be like, "Hey, man, don't pay attention to these dudes. I don't know what's happening over here. Your video is okay." And for someone that's been
Yeah.
around for to kind of
I can't say I've run into that myself too much. You've had the occasional idiot that has something smart to say that isn't really what do you call not a good thing to be saying on there, trolling and so forth. And the mods typically have cleaned that up. And hell, I'll get a notification on my phone that I had somebody comment on a post, and then by the time I even get there, it's already gone. So,
yeah.
So maybe they've gotten a little better about it since. Who knows? But anyway, these mods have jobs and lives too, so they can't be there at every moment, I guess. But it sounds like you got put through a ringer, and that's just not cool. So
Yeah,
go
and
ahead.
more so, it wasn't even people in our community. You know, it was never names I saw or heard from again. So it wasn't, to me. I just write it off of one of, but at the same time, that's kind of it for Reddit.
Yeah, well, that's a shame. So when we did our pre-interview, you talked a bit about how you're involved with challenge locks. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Oh, sure, yeah. See, I love making challenge locks. That's I'd say, for right now, my favorite part of the sport, that I'm learning this angle more. I mean, to be able to pick a lock and to understand how the pins work, that's definitely, something to learn of the lock for sure. But when you're actually taking them apart, and for example, if you're going to serrate a chamber, to see how those serrations work, whether you use like a 3.5, or if you're using a 3 millimeter chamber, use a 3.5 or a 4 millimeter, how those threads, that little 0.5, can make a difference in how it grabs the serrations on the pin.
Yep.
And just learning those little things on your own, because I mean, you can watch videos, but you don't have this serrated pin in your hand. You're not turning the core yourself. So I mean, just in those things, there are things no one else can teach you. You have to learn for yourself.
Yeah.
So just in making these challenge locks, I've learned so much more about them. So, and I love putting random kind of things in there, kind of make you scratch your head. Whether they're dog tag chains or multiple spools, or just something to trying to a little out of the norm. Try to do something creative, and that's another thing I like to do for challenge locks, is kind of watch. Let's say Bosnian Bill, for example. I call it the big three I watch, that got me into locksport, was lock picking lawyer, as I said in the beginning, that segued into Bosnian Bill, and then that led to lock news. So those were kind of like my big three that I guess you would say influences. But then the ones who really kind of taught me, it was like Cranky Lock Picker, and oh man, I said it in the pre-interview, and now I'm having a brain fart. I want to give him credit too. Oh man.
Maybe you'll think of it as we go along.
Yeah. Anyways, it was slow. It was slow, but nevertheless, it was what I needed to learn at that point. So it's like, if I wanted to watch a spools video, of course Bosnian Bill had one. Of course I could learn it from LPL, but just for my learning, my brain at that time is when I land across Cranky and the other guy, sorry I can't think of, it was just, wow, that slowed it down enough that click click click, it unlocked in my brain. I understand now how that happens, how that works. I started getting.
Okay. Can you think of, so what would you think, out of the challenge locks you've made, what one would you say was, you had a relationship with the person you sent it to, and you got a kick out of their reaction to the lock, let's say?
Oh, that's absolutely my lock. Yeah. I had sent my lock what I thought was a doozy of I had two different traps. I mean, if you put any type of really hard pressure on the tight tension on it, it's gonna bite those dog tags. And there's a good trench. And I noticed when John Locke had done it first, he had popped it. That's how we got the final one open. Like when he gutted it, you saw that the pellets were broken apart. So on my locks, man, he float picked it. I mean, amazingly. I still have the brother one here that I still have to send him. I was like, you did such a good job on the first one. Like, I want to send you the second one just to watch you do it again. Like, he did it in such a fast and amazing style. It was just like, wow, man. Like, no traps, no nothing. But okay, there you go. It's open. It's like, wow, that's gorgeous. Like, he did such a phenomenal light tension, or almost no tension. It was basically float picking.
Oh, geez.
And he did a great job. And I love that interaction and exchange with him. Yep,
Yeah,
that was it.
definitely. So, last question before we wrap up. You have a YouTube channel that you spoke about earlier. So, can you talk about your channel a little bit and what you're trying to do with it?
Yeah, if you look at my description, it's very short, and it's together, let's learn to liberate locks. And really, where I'm at in Lockpickers United, if you go by the belts, I'm only a blue belt. So I mean that's on the lower end of the spectrum of of the grander belts. So anybody that kind of jumps in now within a couple months, you can be where I'm at. So I'd like, if you're going to join in, rather than watching lockpicking lawyer or somebody else that's light years in front of ahead of you, or if you feel left behind, or they're talking in a language you don't even understand, binding pins yet, or any of that. I'd like for you to be able to stop on by my place, and see, okay, he's got video 1, 2, 3 of these training locks, explains the lock language, explains whatever. And really, that's what the same thing with my giveaways. The Sparrows training locks, to give them away along with a pouch of pins, and then your choice of, as long as I have it in stock. Well, one hook, one rake, and then I give you a couple top and bottom tension tools.
Cool.
And the reason is that's what I would have loved to have for my group. When I was sitting there watching, people picking when that stuff was in the mail getting here. Like, wow, I would have loved to have been able to win this or that. And so that was hold on, just to mention real quick, my big thing for locksport, I was watching again with my brother, D-Mac. He made a custom handled Nessie and 2 full custom picks. And I had made him an offer to buy it. And he said, no, it's going to be coming up in a giveaway. The giveaway came up, and there was like like a first place, second, and third place order to which pick you got. So it's look, I won first place, so I got choice of picks. So everyone was like, pick the custom. I picked the Nessie, and there was a reason for it. The profile. I wanted to try speed picking with the triple peak, and you flip it around. There's that hook on the other side.
Oh, okay.
And just the handle he had built on that, boy, it's perfect for speed. It's made out of just a technically glue handle, and it's basically just laminated like that, but it's able to spin with such quickness, and it has like a nice grip to it. And just to be able to call the shot, like watching it with my brother, I was like, dude, I'm gonna win that one. Like, I can't buy it. Like, it's meant for me. I'm telling you, I'm gonna win it. My brother's like, yeah, sure, get the hell out of here, dude. Yeah, okay. And then of all things to come in first. All I have to do is come in. I figured because they would pick the custom made by D-Mac picks first. But all I gotta do is come in third. Like, they'll probably pick the custom by him one. I'll come in third, and maybe I'll be the last one. And I happen to just come in first and have choice of that one. So that was my big, okay, now I got to make a real channel. I like this. I'm involved. I want to participate.
Yeah.
And for my giveaways, it was more of a beginner. I'm not a pick maker, at least not yet. So that was, my idea for the giveaways.
Awesome. So is there anything you'd like to say to our audience before we sign off?
Really, I mean, it's more of a piece of advice, kind of to life, not just kind of to lock picking. It's kind of just stay in the now, or live in the now. And all I mean by that is it's real easy to get caught up in, what should have been, and that's the past, or fantasize about the future, and the past is just tick-tocking by.
Yep.
So whether it's picking and you happen to get frustrated, hey, put it down, take a break, 5 minutes, an hour, a day, whatever, pick it back up, try again tomorrow. Whatever it may be, just, do it in the now, the power of now. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
Yesterday was a gift, today is a blessing, tomorrow is not promised.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
All righty. This has been fun. I've enjoyed getting to know you. We talked, I think, for a couple of hours when we did the pre-interview, and that was a blast too. So, all right. So thank you for doing this interview. This has been fun.
For having me, dude. Anytime.
If you are currently a subscriber, thank you. If you are not yet a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications and all, so you can be made aware of content like this, as well as the giveaways and the drawings for those giveaways. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone for listening in. Take care.